Now, the Office of the Prime Minister, led by the Honorable Philip Brave Davis, hosted a national moment of silence in the nation's capital. For more on that story, stay tuned to the Bahamas tonight at 7 p.m. In other news, the Minister for Grand Bahama also reflecting on the lasting impact of Hurricane Dorian tonight. She acknowledges that while the pain still lingers, several government initiatives under the Davis administration have aimed to ease the burdens carried by Dorian victims. Shashina Farquharson reports.
It's a time that most who lived through it shudder to remember. Minister for Grand Bahama, the Honorable Moxey, recalls having to relocate as floodwaters began to rise in our area. On September 2nd, 6 years ago, a monster storm Dorian moved from shattering Abaco to pummeling Grand Bahama.
We saw all of the water rising, right up the steps and starting to enter the house. And so at that point, it was said that, okay, this is very different.
And different it was. Hurricane Dorian would go on record as the worst storm in Bahamian history. It tore through the islands with unimaginable force, leaving behind a trail of destruction, death, and despair. Minister Moxey, an ordinary citizen and member of a nonprofit organization at the time, remembers answering the call to those in need.
The president of a nonprofit organization called 700 Partners, and we went into action right away.
But she says the red tape that existed for people who needed help is why she implemented the COLAB program once she was elected.
In recognizing what, as a nonprofit organization, the challenges were, I knew that, listen here, it has to be different. We have to, first of all, appreciate what nonprofit organizations were doing, because had it not been for nonprofits, I'm not sure where we would be today.
Additionally, another government achievement post-Dorian was the evidence bill, where families no longer had to wait 7 years to declare a loved one dead.
At that time, the current Prime Minister, Philip Edward Davis, he would have visited Grand Bahama as the leader of the opposition at the time, and I would have taken him to these individuals who were, being impacted, and we at that time said, we're going to deal with this. As soon as we get into office, we're going to ensure that there's an amendment that allowed this to happen.
Among other things, she says, following Dorian, the Davis administration has also done much work in East Grand Bahama, like restoration of the memorial sites, extending the SARS order for persons who lost vehicles or are still rebuilding, and assisted in home repairs. And as she recognizes this significant day, here's how she describes residents of Grand Bahama and Abaco.
When we think about what we've experienced and where we are today, there's no other word that describes both islands. We are resilient.
For the Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition, I'm Shashina Farquharson.